Welcome, students, and anyone who's listening in. Just as I promised you, here it is. I'm W.C. Ballard, the Step-by-Step CEO, and I do grant writing for nonprofits step by step and also business plans for my students also. And as I promised you, I have created a complete business plan for your 2025, incorporating all the new and innovative things that grant funders and loan officers want to see. I'm showing you how to write it, and it includes a complete example, word for word, and section by section. So in my business plan example, I'm referring back to my video on the 7 new changes in 2025 business plans and my SMART tips for each change. Here's a complete example of how to write a 2025 full business plan, and this is a fictitious company that I'm using, and I want you to click that like button and subscribe. At least give me that, because I put a lot of work into this. Okay, we're now on the cover. This is what your business plan cover looks like. The Greenie Apple Company business plan. It has a date of April 2025. You can adjust that date depending on what you want to put there for your investors. You may want to put a specific date or a general date like a month and a year. You have the logo of the company and who it's prepared by. The Greenie Apple Company, a complete address, your email address, or your contact phone number, and you might want to put a website on there if you have a website. And next, after your cover page, is your table of contents. These are your basic elements of a business plan: your executive summary, the company overview, the management structure, your industry analysis, your marketing analysis, product line, operational goals and plan, marketing goals and sales strategy, your artificial intelligence AI integration, that's one of the changes, environmental, social, and governance commitment, that's another change that I talk about in the other video, risk analysis, financial projections and labor requirements, and your conclusion. And lastly, you will have appendixes, which are usually attachments. They're not written inside the proposal, but I did put one on here for you to look at. And as you can see, it's very complete, and you will see every word as we go. And after your table of contents, we're now on the executive summary. And the executive summary is usually 1 to 2 pages, but for this purposes, because I wanted to give you the whole outline, you will see portions of it as we go along, and I'll identify each slide. This is the introduction to the executive summary. As you can see, it says who you are and what you do. Green Apple Company, located in Wenatchee, Washington, is an innovative and sustainability-driven apple producer committed to delivering premium quality apples to health-conscious consumers worldwide. I'm not going to read it. You can stop the video anytime and completely reading it, but I'm sharing little bits and pieces with you as we go. Okay, we are still in the executive summary. Industry challenges and opportunities. This talks about what's going on in the industry, what problems may exist, and how you plan on solving them. All right, marketing goals and strategy. This talks about targeting health-conscious international consumers, strategic branding, and emphasizing quality and sustainability in your technological innovations. Operations, goals, and innovation. This section talks about your operation strategy, how you're going to operate, how many acres you're going to cover, what type of sustainability practices you're going to use, and how you plan on reducing waste and improving your operational efficiency. Okay, we are still a part of the executive summary. ESG commitment and goals. Greenie Apple is deeply committed to environmental, social, and governance excellence. You can read on, you can stop the video to read what I have written there. And as you can see, these are other items that need to be incorporated in 2025 into your business plan, because this is what reviewers and loan officers are looking for. Are you keeping up with what's going on in the 21st century? This is what you want to let them know that you are doing. Doesn't mean that you have to give up traditional, but it means that you are going with the flow and that you aren't going to get left behind by staying in the past. Risk management. To navigate market volatility, Green Apple will diversify its offerings, explore value-added products, maintain response to climate risk, and so forth. Talks about insurance and protective farming infrastructures. Labor strategies. How are you going to maintain a lean, skilled, year-round labor? How are you going to be cost effective with it? So here's the financial outlook for the next 4 years, 2025 to 2028. As you can see, you're not over projecting. Then you're actually mentioning that with the exception of the startup year, the company aims to maintain a minimum net of $200,000 per year. Remember, you're dealing with business experts, and they don't expect everything to be perfect, and you don't want to seem that you're over projecting and you're being unrealistic in your projections. So in your conclusion, we now insert some humanism and compassion. As you can see, we talk about the humble beginnings of the family-owned property since 1906. We're talking about being 2025 as the newest generation stepping into their inheritance and carrying with them more than just a legacy of apples, but a promise to honor the past, etc., etc. So this is where you want to add humanity, inject it into your business plan, so you don't just have statistics and numbers. Okay, now we've completed section 1, which is your executive summary. Now we're in section 2, which is the company overview, who you are, what you do, what your mission is, and what your vision is, what your legal structure, are you a limited liability corporation, are you a sole proprietor, etc. And here you can just stop the video and read it to see if there's any wording that you like that you can take and incorporate into your own business plan. Okay, section 3 is your management structure. Who's going to manage this? What kind of staff and employees are you going to have? In this particular model, you show that we have an orchard manager, you have an assistant manager, and you outline what they do and what their approximate salaries will be. And the term FTE in the parenthesis refers to full-time employee. Okay, number 3, your lead orchard technicians, your general laborers. You go right down the list from management all the way to administrative. As you can see, you have your seasonal harvest workers, your office administrative support, and each one goes over what their role is, what their wage rate is, and who they're supervised for. So you're giving your proposed investors a clear picture of how you're going to manage your crops and your apple orchard. Okay, we're now in section 4, the industry analysis. What are the production trends? What kind of economic challenges do you have? Who are your emerging varieties of apples that are competing with you that you need to keep up with? And as you can see, I have quoted different sources, and I have the sources listed. In your business plan, when you start quoting sources, you need to indicate who they are so they can be referred back to by any prospective investor or loan officer. Section 5, your market analysis. Who's your target market? Who's your consumer preferences? What are they? Is there a growing interest in new types of apples, or do they prefer the traditional ones? Your export potential. This is when you talk about sustainability and having a broad reach even across the waters outside of the United States. All of this comes into play when you're trying to have a sustainable business plan and business. Section 6, your products, your product lines. All right, what type of variety of apples do we have? What are your products that are popular? Are there any new innovative ones that you have? How do you stand up against the competition? Do you have what it takes to compete with your other apple companies? That's your product line. Section 7, your operations plan, your sustainable practice. There's that word again. They all want to see sustainability because they don't want to give their money. Your investors don't want to give money to a company that's going to be out of business next year. How are you going to survive? Why are you going to implement eco-friendly farming techniques? You have the environmental approach. For those environmental enthusiasts, they want to see that. You're integrating pest management, efficient water usage to reduce your environmental impact and appeal to environmentally conscious consumers in 2025, guys. Quality control. How do you adopt advanced sorting and grading technologies? Labor management. How are you going to address rising labor costs? This is all a part of your operations plan. Section 8, your marketing and sales strategy, developing your brand, direct-to-consumer sales, your export strategy. How are you going to deal with any tariffs or any type of governments that's coming down with different rules and regulations that you may not be expecting? How are you going to be participating in events? Why? So you can engage in industry events where you can have visibility and connect with your consumers as well as your investors. And section 9, artificial intelligence integration. There's that word again that you're going to be hearing a lot about, and you need to be using it also in your business plan in 2025. Green Apple's committed to leveraging AI to enhance productivity, quality, and sustainability in apple farming. And as you can see, sections that are identified are precision agriculture, yield predictions and demand forecasting, smart sorting and grading, and operational optimization. Section 10, environmental, social, and governance. It's called ESG commitment. As a steward of the land and community, Green Apple is embedding ESG principles into every aspect of its operations and management. And then as you can see, there are goals that you're going to be achieving: reduction in water use, transitioning to renewable energy, and promoting biodiversity through pollinator-friendly farming, so forth. This is what they're looking for in 2025. Social responsibility, investing in local workforce development, partnering with schools and institutions, and your governance and transparency. Transparency is a term that's being looked for now. Adopting a transparent reporting practices aligned with global standards and incorporating the ESG metrics into leadership and board oversight and ethics committees. And section 11, risk analysis. What is the volatility of the market? Are there going to be price fluctuations? What's going to happen with the raises in prices, in export tariffs, climate impact, regulatory changes? You're going to be keeping up with all of that because you want your investors to know that you're not going to get left behind, that you're going to be on top of all the changes. And that's called change management, guys. If you go to my other video, I talk about change management. Okay, we're now in section 12. We're almost finished. Financial projections over a period of 4 years. We covered a little of it in the executive summary. You expound a little more of it in your narrative. Your financial plan deals with your revenue streams, your sales, direct-to-consumer channels. You deal with your cost management, and you deal with investment and innovation. Continuing with the financial projections, you're talking about your target net annual income, your revenue projections, and your labor requirements. And again, here's that financial matrix. You're reminding them again of what your 4-year plan looks like. And continuing with your financial projections, you add any narratives that you think you might want to explain away. Like in your first year, what might happen? Will you increase your acreage of growing apples in future years? Will your revenues increase gradually? Anything you think your investors or stakeholders would like to know about your financial projections. And finally, section 13 is your conclusion. After all is said and done, you're now wrapping up. The Green Apple Company is strategically positioned to thrive amid the evolving dynamics of the Washington apple industry with a clear mission centered on quality, sustainability, and innovation. And as you can see, continue to read, they talk about AI-driven agriculture, your financial projections, the company's focus on optimizing their labor. You're wrapping up everything that you've done in your previous sections. Okay, we've finished the narrative of your business plan, and we're now in the appendix section, which is usually not a part of the business plan. It's usually an addition or an attachment to your business plan. There are usually several types of documents. I'm only showing you one, which is the projected profit loss statement. And as you can see, you show how you plan on reaching your projected $770 in total revenue. Here we show where it'll go over a little bit between your domestic wholesales, your direct-to-consumer sales, and your export sales, and that's okay. The next section of your profit and loss statement is your cost of goods sold, normally referred to as COGS. And as you can see, it has all the expenses related to growing and purchasing your apples. And your final section in your profit loss statement are your operating expenses. Everything you need to stay above board and to operate the entire company is your marketing, utilities, insurance, administrative costs. And as you can see, we show that you will most likely have an operating loss, which is expected in your startup year, but it's covered by other income, such as a USDA anticipated grant, and of course, investor capital, which the owners input. And your total income, that brings it to $240,000, which then concludes at a net profit of $132,000, which is just under your anticipated $200,000 that you will have in subsequent years. That's expected in your startup year. And final thoughts, guys, do your own research. If there's something that I put in there that you don't agree with, that's okay. Do it your way. Do you think all grant writers agree on everything? Of course not. But one thing that we do all agree on is that you need to do your own research, and you take from everything that you get from each mentor and teacher that you have, and you use it to how you feel it needs to be done. It's okay to take some thought and ideas from other business plans. That's why we give them to you. That's why I'm giving this to you. As a mentor and a teacher, I'm doing all this for your success so you can meet your dreams and your goals. There is a full proposal in PDF form at podia.com. I have the link down below. There is a fee for it. Yes, some things do cost, guys. It's only $9.99. But if you don't want to use it, that's okay. But if you want to support me and purchase it and have the full written copy, that's all right. And it looks exactly like what I've shown you in the slides. And lastly, if you found value in this, and I don't know how you couldn't, but if you have, make some comments. Let me know anything I could have done differently. Give me your opinions in the comments. And lastly, subscribe and like so I can continue to share this wonderful information with others. This is W.C. Ballard checking out.